Well, hello there, everyone. Thanks for joining me for our Friday demo. I'm excited about this one. It's a little bit different, something I do every now and then, but they're always really fun to do. I'll show you what we're going to be doing in a second. It's a very simple technique, one of the basics or foundational techniques, but it's a really awesome way to do it, I think. So welcome, everyone. Let's see here. Hey, Donna and Monique. Chris has joined us. Awesome. Pat and Carla are here. Fantastic. So let's just dive right in, and I'll tell you what we're going to be doing. I'm going to be doing a regular old flip cup with some leftover paints, a variety of colors. I don't know what's going to happen. All I know is it's going to be something pretty crazy or pretty terrible. So let's jump in, and I'm going to just flip the camera over and show you what I've gathered. Canvas is all ready to go. I've even put the base coat on already, so we are ready to dive in. So let me flip the camera here. So here we are. Let me move these down just a little bit. So these are all just leftover paints I have had lying around. Some of them I've compiled together. I had a few different types of red violet, so I kind of combined them all in here. I had some different leftover reds, so I combined them in here. This is kind of a mixture of gold and copper. This is, I'm not quite exactly sure what this is. It's probably silver, metallic white, and a tiny bit of like a light purple color. This is some white and a little silver mixed in. This is regular metallic blue from Artist Loft. This is light blue permanent from Liquitex Basics, a whole bunch of different colors. This back here is just some black and some, I don't know what is in there. There's a combination of different things. It's a blackish looking color. That's also what I have on my base coat here. So we are ready to just go ahead and add all these colors to my cup, do a regular flip cup, and then see what happens. Whenever I compile or have a whole bunch of leftover colors, I like to do these types of pours, just these flip cup pours, just to see what happens. A whole big variety of different colors. I don't know if they're going to go together. I think they will. Most of them should. We've got blues and whites, some red violets here, red and like an orange. That might be interesting. I'm not quite sure. But they're really fun to do. I recommend giving them a shot, just trying them. Throw a bunch of stuff in and see what happens. You never quite know. Some of my favorite paintings are these crazy leftover pour paintings. So give them a shot if you have a whole bunch of leftover paints. It's a great way to use up a bunch of different colors. If you have just little bits of blues or little bits of purples left over, combine them all together. And it's a great way to use up some leftover paint. And, you know, you can be just really bold, reckless, don't care about anything. The results are kind of secondary. We're just having fun with this one. So let's go ahead and mix them up. And Carla's got a great question before I start dumping them in a cup. She says, are they all mixed with the same thing? Pretty much. They're all the easy formula, 2 parts Floetrol, 1 part paint usually, mixed roughly about the same consistency. You want to keep them roughly the same consistency. I wouldn't be mixing a bunch of like Dutch pour, super thin paint with thicker paint. So try to keep them all the same consistency. That's kind of important, because when you start tilting, things can go crazy if you have different consistencies. So yeah, these are all just basic, the basic easy formula, just paint, Floetrol, water, and relatively similar consistencies. So that's about it. Good question, Carla. So let's go ahead, and I'm just going to throw them in my cup here, and without a whole lot of thought, and we're going to see what happens. So I'll put a little bit of the white in first, maybe a little bit of our blue. How about some of this red violet? It's a beautiful color, this red violet. How about, I'm going to put some of the darker metallic blue in there. Some of this pink. I like this pink a lot. And maybe on top of that, I'll put a little copper. I don't know if that's going to go well or not. I'll put some of the black in, this kind of dark. It's a little bit on the warmer side, so there's some brown in there, I think. A lot of black, some brown, maybe some red on top of that to give it a little punch, maybe. And maybe a little more of our copper color. I'm going to do a little high pour. How about some white with the high pour? Maybe some blue high pour. You never know what's going to happen with those. I'll put some more of the light blue permanent in. I'll end with, what should I end with? A little bit of a high pour with our violet. And that's all I really need. It's about 7 ounces of paint, about 7.5 ounces of paint. We did some mostly floating layers, some high pour, so that paint shot right in there. It's going to mix up a bunch of stuff that can cause a lot of blending and craziness to happen. So we've got our cup. Now we can just dump it on our canvas, do our flip cup, and we're going to see what happens. This is obviously going to be a pretty quick demo, but these are fun ones to do. If you have a whole bunch of paint, you can do several of these. You kind of plan them out, do maybe a series. That would be a whole lot of fun. This is a 12 by 16, so we needed about 7 ounces of paint for 12 by 16 for just a regular old flip cup. I'm going to get my metal cup flipper tool just to make it a little bit easier. Flip that over, and then I'm just going to drop it right on there and let it sit for a moment. So flip cups are one of the most unpredictable techniques you can do, just because you can't really control anything. You can control the colors you put in what order, but after that, everything's pretty much out of your control, which is kind of fun. You have to look at it as a fun way of painting. If you're a control freak, you're going to hate this because you cannot control anything really. You can control the tilting, but you have to really let all expectations go and just have fun with these types of paintings. So I think that's pretty good. Let's go ahead and pull our cup off. I'm just going to pull it back away from me towards the corner, just like this. It's looking pretty interesting. Got some cells happening. Just tapping out my cup here. And it's good to give the puddle a little bit of time. Let it kind of do its thing. A lot of these colors are trying to level themselves out. That's where the densities of the paint come into play. So what's happening is some of these colors are moving aside, letting other colors kind of balance. They all are trying to look for equilibrium in there. So that's kind of what causes all these crazy cells to happen. I'm just gonna let it sit there. We could do a little torching, I guess. Normally I don't torch, but we could torch a little bit. Why not? So I don't think there were any like cloud mixtures in here or not. I don't think so. So I don't have any like satin enamels in here. The white is doing some cool things. This is a white I just mixed up. When was that? Wednesday? So if my members know what white this was. So, but it's looking cool. Let's expand this a little bit. I'm just gonna expand the puddle a little bit here. Now it's looking a little, we have some cool cells on the perimeter, which is a bad place for them because they're probably going to get tilted off, but that's okay. But one thing we could do here, we got cells all over the place. Do some finger drags or some lip drags. We could use our cup just to break some of this up and make it look a little more interesting. This is predominantly just blue and white. Let's see if we can find some of those other colors. I'm going to just use my fingers. I have a little bit more control when I just do a finger drag. I can kind of maybe bring some of those other colors up to the surface. And I'm not too worried about messing up cells or anything like that. Let's see, I'm going to run right through there maybe. But I like this one, this first one. And you can give it a second. You don't have to do these all at once. We could even tilt a little bit. Let that first kind of like finger drag develop a little bit before we do another one. And we could do another one. I'm going to go right through the middle here. Cool, I like that. Got some swirly things happening. That pink is starting to pop up a little bit through there. So that's enough, I think, for the finger drags. I'm gonna just let it sit there for a moment. And then we're gonna start tilting off of our corners. I think I'll go down on this one first. But so far it's pretty interesting, so let's go ahead and do a little tilt. It's kind of cool. I'm going to go up to the top here, this corner next. It's looking good, and the more we tilt, we're stretching that paint out. It's getting thinner. Other colors can come to the surface a little bit. Like, I really like what's happening in here. So I'm just taking a look at it, and I'll turn it around. Let's go over to this corner next. So I'm just going to let the paint kind of move down there kind of slowly. We don't have to rush it. There we go. So let me shift my grip here, and then we'll go ahead and tilt off this corner. Just taking a look at what's happening on those edges, and some of those things I don't want to keep, so I'm tilting a few of them off, those kind of funky cells. Kind of bring it back, and then I'm kind of moving it to our final corner. Kind of change my angle again, and then go ahead. And one thing we could do, if it's starting to slow down, you could have done this beforehand too. We can add a little bit of flow extender. That can help kind of move things a little easier. Something like that. So what that'll do is kind of help pull that paint over the corner a little bit easier. We've got that big crazy weird cell, which I don't really love, so I'm going to tilt that one off. There it goes. Now I'm going to just go back the other way and maybe move some of that paint at the top down. I'll show you in a second here. So here we go. Now we've tilted over all of the corners, all of the sides, and we have these little hints of that bright red. I love those, these little hints right in here. I don't want to drip on my painting. That's the red we used, which I think is really cool. Just these little tiny hints popping through there. And so what we could do now is just do a little more fine tuning if we wanted to. I love that pink color is popping through a whole lot more now. Before it was buried, you didn't see any of that, but now it's really starting to pop up. I really like that. So I'm going to just tilt a little bit more, maybe bring some paint from over here, kind of back down over here a little bit. Just finesse it a little. There's nothing I really want to get rid of. I just kind of want to move it around a little and see what else might happen. And if I don't like what's happening, I'll just stop. So you can stop tilting at any time. So I'm changing the angle just to move the paint in different directions. And I think I like it just like that. So I think I'm going to call that completed. And it's a crazy painting. I had no idea that would come out of that cup with all those weird colors. But they do work together pretty well, actually. So one cool thing about doing this, just throwing a bunch of stuff in a cup, just to see what happens, it can give you a whole lot of ideas to explore further for a little bit more controlled paintings or a little bit more thought out paintings. Like I love this red happening in here. So like this red combined with these whites and blues, that might be something really fun to explore in the future. And remember, I kept the white separated as much as possible from that red. So I had the white on the bottom, I had like the black color, and then I put the red on top of that dark color. So it can kind of give you hints as ways to layer your paint if you get cool effects kind of that are happening. So I love that we didn't get tons of pink. We were able to keep that super bright red. Now this pink down here was that actual pink color, this one. And we've got a lot of that popping through, which I quite like. So They're just really fun to do, I think. If you have a bunch of leftover paints, you're not quite sure what to do with it all. Like you don't really have enough of each color to make another painting that that you used the paint for originally. It's a great way to just use up some scrap colors. You can combine colors and just have fun, create something totally crazy. It's always like a surprise. You never know what's going to happen. It's the best kind of surprise, kind of like a Christmas surprise, Christmas morning. And you can just play around with what you get, try to do the best you can with it. And it can help you look at colors and plan some things perhaps for the future. So we have that. I really like this whole passage right in here, that really bright red next to the dark, next to that red violet. It's very cool, and you can kind of see most of these colors popping up throughout here. The orange or coppery orange kind of gets lost a little bit. We have little specks of it right in here. Right in here you can see some specks of that orange, but all in all, I think it's kind of a cool painting. Definitely wild, and definitely changed from the original paint puddle. So you can do some finger drags or lip drags, manipulate the puddle a little bit, and it can really turn into something super unexpected, but a whole lot of fun. So let's see here. And I'm going to flip back here and see if there are any questions you might have about this technique or this approach to kind of, it's basically a test painting is what it is, but it's really, really fun. So let's see here. Just checking to see if there are, oops. Oh, what happened here? Okay, there we go. Something crazy happened, so I got it fixed. Yeah, let's see here. Yeah, Novala is here. Hey, Novala. Novala said the red is a statement in the piece, but most of it will go. Yeah, a lot of it was on the perimeter, and yeah, most of that got left. You never quite know how it's going to come out of the cup, which is another surprise that you always have. But we did manage to keep a little bit of it, which is kind of cool. Cool, and Carla said she can't believe there's no cloud mix in there. Yeah, no cloud mix. There aren't any cloudy effects really. It's just the white. In the white in particular, it was a titanium white, which is usually a heavier pigment, and that can create a lot of cells by kind of allowing other colors to rise, lighter weight colors to kind of rise through that heavier pigment. It doesn't always happen, but that was a fun effect that we got with that white. So we'll have to try that again. And of course, just like that, those different effects and things, you can take notes, keep your journal nearby, and then jot down any crazy effects that might have happened, and then what color caused that. And then those are other things you can explore further in paintings down the road. So, great comment, Carla. All right. Cool, so no other questions, and that's about it. So pretty quick, very simple demo, fun demo. I like the results. It's pretty cool. And but this is just a fun way to paint, use up leftover paints, basically just playing around with our paints, having fun, and that's about it. Expecting nothing out of it, but we're always can have a fun surprise. So, all right. Okay, everyone. Well, I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Next week is holiday time, which is wonderful. We're going to have our members-only Q&A on Wednesday, and I know a lot of people might not show up for that. A lot of the members might be traveling or spending time with their friends and family. So if you show up and have questions, that's awesome. If not, I'll do a demo. A little bit more controlled demo than this one, but we'll have a fun demo. I'll answer any questions you might have in the membership. And then next Friday, I haven't decided if I'm going to do a Friday demo or not. So stay tuned for that and we'll see. All right, so thanks so much, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the crazy flip cup, and I will talk to you again very soon. Have a great weekend and take care. Bye-bye.